Notorious.
Big it up, big it up.
Yeah. Hear my voice.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Here we go.
What is up, everybody, and welcome to the Casual Wrestling Community Show. It is May the 4th. May the 4th be with you. This is the single greatest casual wrestling show on the internet. I am your host, the Notorious Nerdy D, and joining me on the ones and twos, working the mics and cameras, your soon-to-be former Notorious pay-per-view champion, Level Up Lauren.
That's what you think, and what's up, y'all?
Whether you're watching on YouTube or listening on your favorite podcast network, we have an amazing show for you tonight. Tonight, we discuss how the WWE currently ranks its superstars going into SummerSlam. We discuss how little I know about NXT, and we break the harsh reality about where AEW stars would actually fit in on the WWE roster. But first, Lauren, we have a couple predictions to make. So right from the jump, WWE WrestleMania Backlash looks to be, from my point of view, if you're asking me, a slightly underwhelming premium live event, not a pay-per-view.
Okay.
It's an underwhelming premium live event to me. We currently have 6 matches announced. That's it.
Yeah.
This is coming out of the big WrestleMania that had 27,000 matches. We have 6 matches announced. Out of those 6 matches, currently we have 1 title match announced.
Okay.
That's it. How is it supposed to be a premium live event when we had as many title matches the other night on Monday Night Raw with Bianca Belair and Sonya Deville as we do on WWE Backlash? Weird, right?
Yeah.
Feels like this is a throwaway pay-per-view to me. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that because it's implied in the name. It's the Backlash from WrestleMania. Mm-hmm. And it feels like it's just trying to tie up the loose ends from the summer, from the programs prior to the summer. Like we're transitioning into summer programs, and we've got a couple things that we have to tie up the loose ends on. We got to tie up the loose ends on Seth Rollins and Cody Rhodes. We got to tie up the loose ends on Ronda and Charlotte. We got to kind of get those over with before we can get into the fresh push of the summer. Noticeably missing from this pay-per-view, I said it again, this premium live event, Ezekiel is not on the card.
No.
Kevin Owens is not on the card. Bianca Belair is not on the card. Becky Lynch not on the card. Asuka not on the card. Sasha Banks and Naomi not on the card. That's a lot of superstar power to have sitting on the bench going into what you call a premium live event. What this feels like to me, Lauren, this feels like this is a concession that they had to give to Ronda Rousey because they took the main event away from her at WrestleMania. It feels like they looked and they went, well, you're not going to main event this one, but you'll main event Backlash, which is still kind of WrestleMania. Like, it's got the name in it. And that's why they've pushed home that this is WrestleMania Backlash. It's all to make Ronda Rousey feel like she's still getting that main event.
Yeah.
And I think when they looked around and they go, if Ronda Rousey and Charlotte Flair have to be the main event on this card, we're not going to blow off a bunch of big feuds in this thing. We're going to kind of just ride this out and let it be. 6 matches, man. I feel like we're going to get a couple more on Smackdown this week. But 6 matches going into a premium live event. If you get 2 this Friday on SmackDown, that gives them 1 day build. Yeah. Like literally the night before the pay-per-view, we're going to announce some more matches. And there has to be. I don't know how 6, unless these are just going to be extremely long, drawn-out matches. Yeah, go for it.
What is the point of a pay-per-view now if it's just shown on Peacock? I mean, do people still pay to watch pay-per-views? Is that a thing?
No, but it's organization, I think. It's the difference in what AEW is, right? AEW just feels like this story that has no flow to it. Whereas WWE, like it or not, it's got a blow off, right? It's 4 weeks, and then we get kind of conclusions or big events that move us forward. And so you can argue if 4 weeks is enough time. I don't think it is. I think maybe every other month you should have a premium live event. But to answer your question, like, I guess before, yes, people paid for them, but now it's just a way to get you to subscribe to Peacock.
Okay.
Because the only way to watch that is through Peacock, so they want you to subscribe on Peacock.
Yeah.
Moving forward from here, the schedule for WWE Premium Live events is Hell in a Cell, June 5th, Money in the Bank, July 2nd, SummerSlam, July 30th, Clash at the Castle, September 3rd. heavy firepower moving forward. So I think that they kind of look at this one and they go, we'll give everybody a break. We won't make this a big deal. This will just kind of happen. It'll blow by. People, you'll get a few moments out of it, but I don't even think WWE is viewing this as like a big deal coming out of WrestleMania. They had so much success, I think, at WrestleMania that they can't afford to kind of coast through this event.
Yeah.
But that gets us to the matches on the card. 6 matches announced. We have to make predictions. Whether I like the pay-per-view or premium live event or not, we have to make predictions. And so I'll start right off the bat with Ronda Rousey versus Charlotte. And I see you looking at my picks. I want you to pick not based on my pick.
I'm picking based on
your
my
pick.
picks.
So who do you have in this match?
I'm going with my girl, Charlotte.
So you're going to go Charlotte in this match. I think there's zero chance Charlotte wins this. I thought there was zero chance she won at WrestleMania. And now you officially just made me confident moving forward.
No.
You raised my level of confidence immediately in this.
Well, let's just talk about who won that belt right now. That belt is mine. Thank you.
It is yours right now. But look, every clock is what do they call every broken clock is right twice a day. Like, you got lucky. I clearly. Cody Rhodes versus Seth Rollins. This is a match I'm more excited about on the card. It's still, it's just a rematch from WrestleMania, which I feel like takes a little bit away from that match, but I guarantee this is going to move forward and kind of be the end of this feud for these two guys. So who do you got?
I'm actually going to go Seth Rollins on this one.
So we're going opposite.
Well, because I feel like it's not like it's too soon to give Cody Rhodes.
So you're going with
anything.
WWE booking here, because WWE booking is 50-50.
Okay.
Someone wins the first one, someone wins the second one, then we have a rubber match where it all pays off. Yeah. I don't feel like, how can you just stunt Cody's momentum at this point?
Well, because I feel like there's a bigger story there. Like he's got to like suffer a little bit before he really has like a great win.
So the fear I have, and this is how you've gotten me in the past, is when unforeseen circumstances happen, right? Someone cost Cody the match, and I don't look at it, because when I just look heads up, straight up, Cody Rhodes, Seth Rollins, there's zero reason for Seth Rollins to win this match. I've said it over and over. He is the best loser, and I don't mean that in a negative way. He is the best loser in WWE. He can lose a big match and the next day talk himself out of that situation. Yeah. And we're back to like, oh, he's the fucking man again, right? So Cody Rhodes needs this more than Seth Rollins, but unforeseen circumstances would be the only reason I believe that Seth Rollins. So I'm going Cody, you're going Seth.
Yeah.
All right, then we got AJ Styles versus Edge with Damian Priest being banned from ringside.
Okay.
This is another one where I pick, probably using too much logic. I go, this new faction that Edge has is meant to build up Damian Priest. It's meant to build up a mystique. They've spent all this time with these purple lights and convincing us this is Judgment Day, and I can't imagine that AJ Styles is the only person that the Judgment Day is going to go after. But with guys like Bray Wyatt, they have a tendency to take something really cool and just fuck it up. I know that they cut out of this of the last broadcast when they replayed on Hulu the Bullet Club whatever situation where Finn Balor and AJ Styles did a little hand thing. So that leads me to believe that they don't really want AJ Styles and Finn Balor to become a big deal. I'm going Edge in this match. I'm
going to go AJ Styles here. We're going to be, head to head again. We're 150%.
But this is one that I feel like I could easily be wrong.
So because what's his name is banned from showing up, maybe like Omos will come or somebody will come and help.
All right. Omos is in a whole nother match.
It could happen. You never know. I'm hoping something crazy is going to happen.
Act like you watch the show. Come on.
No,
Omos,
you never know.
Omos and AJ Styles are done.
It's AJ's time.
Finn Balor could be the reason, but it's not.
It's something crazy is going to happen.
Jesus. We have Omos and Bobby Lashley. This one, I don't know, because this is a weird situation. This is two guys that I feel like WWE wants to present both of them as strong and wants to get both of them over. And I don't know how you do that. So
yeah, you can go.
I foresee MVP getting involved in costing Bobby Lashley this match, which in turn, I think this continues on. I don't think this is over by any means here. So I'm going Omos.
I'm actually going to agree with you.
Okay, so you're going Omos as well there, so nothing to argue about. Madcap Moss versus Happy Corbin. I think this is, to me, the easiest match of the night to make a prediction on, because Happy Corbin, the character, is obviously being broken down to not be happy anymore. And I think that he's played that character out enough. It's time to transition him into a new character. Madcap Moss is trending upward, and so it's time for him to get his payback after being the sidekick. I think it's simple to go Madcap Moss here.
I'm going to agree with you on this one as well.
Okay, so, and then last match that we actually have on the card is the Bloodline, Roman Reigns, the Usos versus RK Bro and Drew McIntyre. To me, this match, and before I make my prediction, just going to talk about it in a minute. I was hyped up. I think I built myself up for this tag team title unification thing. This is a great match. This 6-man match is probably going to be, look out, sleeper match, could be match of the night. I think it'll end up being Seth Rollins, Cody Rhodes, but this could be match of the night.
Okay.
But it just feels like a letdown after what they built it up to be originally. After telling us we were getting tag team unifications, and then this is where WWE does the shit that the IWC is able to eat up and throw back into WWE people's faces. There's no logic, right? So Roman Reigns, night after WrestleMania, comes out and says, what's left to do? It's to unify the tag team titles. So the Usos go over, they cause havoc, they get the match that they're looking for. And then all of a sudden, it's Roman Reigns that comes out and tears up the contract. Where is the logic involved in this? Now, probably it's going to play out down the road. That's perfectly fine, but I don't understand. When this match was originally announced as a tag team unification match, I had circled the Usos real big. Just circle the Usos. Usos are winning. The Usos are going to take the tag team titles. We're going to have the Bloodline. They're going to have every fucking belt in the WWE, and it's going to be cool, right? It's a takeover. Everybody kind of dreams of these moments where one faction just takes everything for a little bit, and now I look at this match and I go, what is the reason for the Bloodline to win this match? You need to build up Drew McIntyre as Roman Reigns needs obstacles. If the plan is really for him to keep this belt another 365 days, Roman Reigns needs obstacles that are believable. And so it seems like RK Bro and Drew McIntyre will win this match. That was my long-winded answer to get to. I'm picking RK Bro and Drew McIntyre to win this match.
Well, after that, I'm going to disagree with you, motherfucker. And I'm going to go with the Bloodline all the way. We the ones.
But for what purpose would it serve for the Bloodline to win this match other than just squashing RK Bro and Drew McIntyre? The Bloodline are fine losing. Like they come out of losses, and I mean it's always the Usos, right? Mm-hmm. The Usos will cost them this match somehow, some way, and like we always kind of forgive the Usos of like, well, shit happens, right? I don't think RK Bro and Drew McIntyre could survive this loss and come out unless once again. You don't
think so? They're so likable that no matter what, if something happens and then they lose,
it's not about being likable.
It's going to be like, well,
it's about credibility. So if they lose this match and then we go, we're still going to try and tag team or unify the tag teams down the line. I think that you look at it and you go, well, they've already been beaten. Why they don't seem like formidable opponents anymore. I feel like they have to win this match.
All right, I'm going Bloodline.
Just last notes on WrestleMania Backlash. I think we probably get 2 matches on SmackDown. We're gonna get 2 added. I'm assuming one's gonna be Sheamus and crew.
Okay.
With maybe the New Day again.
All right.
Just something they're just trying to put Butch out front and center, which I got no problem with. It's a good opportunity to do that. The other match is probably either gonna be like a Gunther squash match. Just somebody give him like a slightly raised up opponent, like a Drew Gulak or someone like that, where he comes out and squashes them. Okay. Or it's a Sasha Banks and Naomi. God, one title match feels real light for a premium live event.
Yeah.
All right, let's move into topic number 2.
Oops.
That was a quick transition.
Said, hey, let's go.
All right, so we are, like I said, we're coming out of WrestleMania season. I think Backlash ties up the last loose ends. And you begin the transition, the road to SummerSlam. That's kind of the next building point where the next set of big matches happen. And I look at the WWE rosters, and I've seen a couple posts on Instagram and things that say the rosters are unbalanced. I don't think the rosters are as unbalanced as people think, but it led me to look at a couple weeks ago, a report came out that it had leaked the internal rankings of the faces and the heels on Raw and SmackDown. And it gave for each division like one or two names. And I wanted to try and go farther and get inside the head of like Vince McMahon and Triple H and the WWE and really try to break down and figure out. I came up with my list of how I think the WWE views its current faces and heels moving into the SummerSlam season, as I call it. On Monday Night Raw, I believe we have 10 faces. There's 10 faces, not all baby faces, just faces. We have 10 face characters. And I'll list them off in the order that I think they appear on the roster. Number one, without a doubt, I believe the biggest face on Monday Night Raw right now is Cody Rhodes. And that's a little strange because he wasn't there 2 months ago. So all of a sudden he comes over from AEW and he's immediately thrust as to being, he is the biggest face on Monday Night Raw. He is the prime focus of Monday Night Raw when it comes to the good guys. I think number two is RK Bro. And I think you'd agree with that. You like RK Bro.
Love them.
I think as a tag team, they're likable. I keep wanting them to break up, but it's one of those things like New Day. Unless they have something big planned for Riddle or for Randy Orton, there's no reason to break them up. And if we do try to elevate this tag team division by unifying the titles, RK Bro needs to be there in the mix for a while to give the Usos and Alpha Academy and Street Profits, all these guys, formidable opponents so it doesn't get immediately stale. Would you agree that the third biggest face on Monday Night Raw is Bianca Belair?
Yeah, I would. I love her.
I go back and forth. Bianca's great. She's over with the crowd, but they haven't given her a real moment outside of Becky Lynch. And I know time. It takes time. We got to wait. And Sonya Deville's not that moment. This is a transition. But I do think she's primed to be number 3. And so when I look at the rest of the baby faces here, or the faces, I said, that's a place I'd put her, but the WWE is going to have to nurture this relationship with the crowd. They can't. What they can't do is what they're doing is like put her title match on Monday Night Raw and then leave her off of the next premium live event. Doesn't make sense to me. Why was her match with Sonya Deville not on the Backlash card?
It would have been a good one there.
It feels like it was perfect. And I mean, you want my real opinion? Mm-hmm. I do believe that somehow internally that because Bianca Belair and Becky Lynch outshined Charlotte and Ronda at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
I do believe there's something political inside of WWE happening that was like, we can't have a bunch of women overshadow Ronda and Charlotte.
Well, yeah, when you look at the list of people who aren't there, like as you were reading, I was like,
female stars.
That was a lot of girls. Yeah. It was a very man heavy show. Not that it matters, but like.
Number 4 face on the roster is Bobby Lashley. I think that when the report came out, he was reported as number 1.
Really?
I don't think that's the case. Maybe internally he is, but the crowd doesn't look at Bobby Lashley as number 1, especially when you stick him with Omos. Like that feels like middle. Yeah, it's like middle of the card feud. He's definitely not being pushed to the front. And Raw's in this weird position, not having a world championship. You've got a lot of guys who are just kind of stranded on an island. Number 5, I have Ezekiel. Feels like he's trending upward.
I like him.
It feels like this whole story, and he can, I keep saying, he can give a ton of credit to Kevin Owens, but it feels like right now, number 5 is a place to put him. At number 6, I have AJ Styles. Number 7, Asuka. 8, Finn Balor.
Okay.
9, Liv Morgan. And 10, Rey Mysterio.
You'd put Finn Balor before Liv Morgan?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I think so. Internally, I mean, they're basically just jobbing Liv Morgan to Rhea Ripley right now.
Yeah.
Although they're kind of jobbing Finn Balor, I still think he has more credibility with the crowd.
Okay.
if that makes sense.
curious.
I mean, when you look at the bottom of that though, you could interchange those two, and I wouldn't really give a shit.
Yeah.
When you get down to 8 and 9, you're basically not really looked at as well. Where are you going from there? Okay, so then we look at the heels on Monday Night Raw.
Yes, sir.
The heels I have number 1, Seth Rollins. I think it's pretty easy. He's the focal point of every Monday Night Raw. In some form or fashion, he inserts himself into the main event, and countered to him, it's Becky Lynch is the number 2 heel. Right now they're letting her cool off coming out of the Bianca stuff, but still, when she comes out, the crowd reacts.
Definitely.
And she definitely will build up steam again, and she will rise back to the top. She just had a long run. They let her cool off, and they'll turn around and come back. Number 3, Kevin Owens. And I get that, like, Kevin gets kind of displaced, but it doesn't matter what they put Kevin Owens in, he shines. He rises to the top. This Ezekiel shit's great. Pairing him with Alpha Academy, great. The way that match finished, where he cheats to win the match and then he kind of walks off. He's kind of lone wolf, but Mr. Friendly. He's so multifaceted with his ability. I talk about, it's what I want from Big E, to be able to play comedic, aggressive, and technical, and mold all these things into a character that works. And I'd like a little more. I don't need Big E to be a carbon copy, but Big E just needs to figure out the more aggressive side of being physical and being a big guy. Number 4, I have Edge. I think his new character fits as far as heels go. I mean, would you put him above Kevin Owens? I don't think so, right?
No,
right?
Not right now, no.
Number 5, The Miz.
Okay.
Which is leading into number 6 is Theory. And I believe that The Miz is kind of, mentoring Theory, and Theory's going to rise up. Like. I believe Theory's in for a face turn, though, is my only fear with putting him on that list. 7, Rhea Ripley. 8, Damian Priest. 9, Veer Mahan. I mean, would you disagree with the bottom of that list?
I think that's an actual good list.
I think Rhea Ripley is so fucking misused, but I think WWE views her as about the 7th best heel on the Monday Night Raw roster.
I agree 100% with you.
Same with Damian Priest. Like, they're people who can trend up. And Veer Mahan is so new, is why I put him there. He's notable, but he's new. SmackDown, I'm not going to turn this into a long thing. There's 7 faces to me that I could really come up with on SmackDown.
Okay.
Number 1, Drew McIntyre. I think it's obvious, right?
Yeah.
He's the main face. 2 is Ronda Rousey, which is, I think she's so out of place in that spot.
They put her there, or you put her there?
This is how I view WWE ranking.
How you think that they
people,
do?
How I think they rank people, right?
Okay, yes.
3, I think, is the New Day, even though they're using them to build up Sheamus right now and his crew. But I still think internally Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston are invaluable. They would not let them leave the WWE for anything. They are top 3 faces on the SmackDown side. Number 4 is Madcap Moss. They like this kid. They like him. I like him. And I think he's trending upwards.
Like him.
I like him. They like him. I had a hard time. I put him above Sasha Banks and Naomi.
Oh, I would agree with you, because I don't think they use them enough.
That's my problem. It's the women's tag team division is so misused and it's a clusterfuck, right? Natalya and Shayna Baszler are currently kind of antagonizing Sasha Banks and Naomi, but then Natalya's on NXT doing some shit, I think.
Yeah,
so people are all over the place. There's not enough emphasis put on that. There's not enough teams that really matter. That are like cohesive units.
They just throw girls together and say, okay, you're a team now.
So this says less about Sasha and Naomi, who I think are invaluable to WWE, and it says more about the state of the women's tag team division.
Yeah.
6, I have Ricochet. I know on internal documents they listed him as like the number 2 face on SmackDown. He's not a bigger deal than Ronda Rousey.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. And maybe that was only men on that list, but I don't remember the context of the list. But I'd say he's the 6th most important thing on SmackDown. And then 7, I have Gunther. And I'm not even positive Gunther is a face. You know what I mean? Like, as of right now, he's just squashing people. I put him there because it seems like people are excited to see him.
Yeah.
The heels on SmackDown, I have number 1's Roman Reigns, biggest heel in all of wrestling. Fight me. He's the best thing in pro wrestling. Anytime someone tells me on social media that Roman Reigns isn't the best thing in professional wrestling, they go fuck themselves. You're wrong.
I agree.
You're wrong.
I used to hate him, but I love him now.
Yeah. Number 2 is the Usos. I mean, and I think that it partially on their own accord and partially because the bloodline is the biggest and best fashion right now.
Yeah.
Faction in WWE. 3, Charlotte. Would you agree there?
Yes.
Because when you look at this list outside, those 3 are legitimate
Top
big
3,
time
man.
heels.
They use them all the time.
4, Happy Corbin. 5, Sami Zayn. 6, Sheamus and crew, but they're trending upward.
Okay.
I think Sheamus, Butch, and those guys, they're all trending upward. So that's the way that's how I think WWE views their roster currently. Now, noticeably missing from my list, because people are going to look at that list and go, there's some names on there you didn't throw out there. Shinsuke Nakamura. I think they've given up on Shinsuke. I thought we were going to get Shinsuke and Roman Reigns. He came out, got flatlined. I think that as far as WWE was concerned, they were using Shinsuke to build up Rick Boogs. And without Rick Boogs, they don't know what to do with Shinsuke Nakamura. I don't think they do. Alpha Academy, while I think I love Alpha Academy, I don't know how long they last. If we unify the tag team titles, then we've got a long line of people that are trying to get into that picture. I think the Street Profits are higher up on the ranking charts than Alpha Academy, and that leads me to Street Profits. A lot of these tag teams are just lost in the mix. They come out with no rhyme or reason, and they get put in matches that kind of complement other feuds. Like Street Profits and Alpha Academy are feuding with each other, but what really for? What is the reason? Like, why? Explain to me why they don't like each other. What is the reason for that? Omos. I put him on this because I don't even know where you put Omos at this point. I have no clue what their plan is. He's not on a trajectory to win a world title, obviously.
Yeah.
Obviously, he's not getting paired up with Roman Reigns anytime soon. So what is he? In theory, he's going to have the United States title locked down for a while. So what is the upside for Omos? I don't know where I would rank him in WWE Raw heels.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe above Damian Priest at 8, possibly. And then Mustafa Ali is the last one who just returned back to Smackdown as a face and then got squashed immediately in a 2-on-1 match against The Miz in Theory, which looks to me like they basically changed their mind and were like, no, we got other plans for you. You're going to get to fight Tommaso Ciampa, or it's just Ciampa now. And I assume that's to build Ciampa up as well. I believe this is a little punishment for Mustafa Ali.
No.
Man, do we need another draft? I mean, when you look at that, I don't think so. I've seen the rumors going around that we need another draft. I think there's a decent amount of balance for the amount of time. Monday Night Raw is a 3-hour show. You need more faces. You need more heels. That's just how it's going to be. SmackDown's got Roman and Charlotte, and that's a pretty big fucking deal. Raw has, I would say, the better roster at this point in time, but they don't have a world title. And how long? Like, we got Roman Reigns on Monday Night Raw this week. How many times can we do that? Because I know every time I go, is the brand split over? Everybody's like, what brand split? There's a definitive brand split. When you go on WWE.com and you look at the rosters, there's 2 separate rosters there.
I think they even mentioned like they didn't plan on ending the brand split.
Was it?
I saw that
Was
somewhere.
it a quote or was it just a rumor?
I think it was a rumor.
Yeah, you can't quote rumors. Raw has the 24/7 title, which seems to be taking a kind of a prominent place on television. They're doing a lot with it, but it's a clusterfuck. And sometimes it doesn't make any sense. And, Roman Reigns, the Usos, Drew McIntyre, they were all on Monday Night Raw. All 3 of them. Those are all SmackDown guys.
Yeah.
So maybe the rosters don't matter anymore. I don't know. All right, let's move on. Topic number 3.
Step in the ring. If you ready, let's go. Hey, casual wrestling.
All right. I was looking at TikTok the other day, and WWE had posted a few NXT clips, and it led me to realize I absolutely don't know anything about NXT, and this pisses a lot of people off. I don't know anything about New Japan Pro Wrestling. I don't know anything about Impact Wrestling. The name of the show is Casual Wrestling Community Show. It's casual. I know a little bit about AEW. I know a little bit about WWE, and that's the extent of what I have time to watch. But I do know that NXT is the next wave of talent, right? That's the next set of guys and girls that are coming up that'll be on the WWE roster. And I try every so often to just get myself informed of who these people are. So about 3 or 4 weeks ago, I watched one episode of NXT, had no fucking clue what was going on. It was very colorful. There was a lot of people that I had never seen in colorful outfits, a lot of colored hair. It looked like Nickelodeon to me. And this week I thought it might be fun for me to do kind of a zero knowledge evaluation of the NXT roster, 100% based on only their wrestling look and WWE.com bio.
Okay.
And this isn't based on attractiveness. So it's not like I'm saying like, how does someone look? Do they look good? This is basically based on what I think their marketability is as a wrestler and a first glance from their bio. Like I said, I watch zero NXT, so I don't know. I can't get invested in a whole nother set of characters. And before we get too far into this, I know this is going to get like when these clips get cut and put onto social media, people are going to shit all over me because of how wrong I'm going to be about all this stuff. But that is the point of this topic here, is for me to see how wrong I am about these superstars. So what I did is I went on to a couple different websites and I just typed into Google NXT superstars I should know. Because there's a lot of NXT superstars, and I don't want to make judgment on all of them, but I kind of came up with a consensus of about 5 different lists that these are people that I should get to know as future WWE stars. So go ahead, pull up number 1. Number 1 here is someone named Andre Chase. Okay, and WWE.com says, "Welcome to Andre Chase University. Take notes. The up-and-coming Andre Chase has looked to impose painful education on both NXT and 205 Live, as well as competed in the 2021 NXT Breakout Tournament. Overall, Chase is a quick-thinking superstar with a strong intellect that gives him the ability to use his environment to his advantage against any opponent and unleash a calculating offense that includes maneuvers like the excruciating STF." So I'm looking at Andre Chase here. Based on the bio they just gave me and the look he has, and I believe, now we did watch a previous episode of NXT with the wedding, and I believe he was featured on this episode. He was doing something in the classroom. I believe this guy teaches. He's
like a teacher, right?
He's like educating other superstars, and he's very technical. This gimmick, I think this gimmick could work in WWE, like in the main roster. I think that this guy looks like he has potential. He has the look of a wrestler. He's pretty generic white. I mean, let's be realistic, right? He looks like a lot of white guys. He doesn't look very different.
I mean, to be for real though, there isn't anybody on the main roster who looks like him right now.
I'd have to look at the roster.
They all have long hair. It's all like wet.
Guess so.
He's the most clean cut looking one out of all of them, in my opinion.
I mean, okay.
I'm on your side,
he's
Andre.
a little bit boring. I mean, just at first glance, he's a little bit boring.
No, Andre's a man of mystery.
Chase you.
He's a teacher, and he's going to teach you a couple things.
Let's move on. Second, I was told on all these lists to look at a group called Pretty Deadly.
Okay.
And I think I only brought one of their bios up, but I think one's all we need to see. And so here we go. This is Elton. What is his name?
Elton Prince.
Elton Prince of Pretty Deadly.
So first of all, I thought you were a girl.
That's a boy. Are Pretty Deadly the fastest rising tag team in NXT 2.0? Yes, boy. While Elton Prince and his partner, Kit Wilson, may seem like they're more concerned with their looks and fashion choices, Pretty Deadly have proven themselves to be a cunning tag team, willing to do whatever it takes to pick up a victory. Don't let their good looks fool you. Pretty Deadly hit hard and aren't adverse to using questionable tactics. And though it though it took some time for the eccentric tandem to hit their stride, they quickly rose through the ranks to become the NXT UK Tag Team Champions.
Yeah.
I guess. Is that lace he's wearing?
Yes, that would be rainbow lace.
So this reminds me of, do you remember Breezango? Tyler Breeze and Fandango, they did the Fashion Police where they would hand out fashion tickets.
Fashion notice.
I don't know anything about these guys, but from what I read, it sounds to me like it's one of those like Cody Rhodes has used the gimmick. This gimmick's been used a million times of like the pretty boys who can wrestle. I don't know that works on Monday Night Raw or SmackDown. I think it's
I feel
great.
like they would just smash him.
I think it's great in NXT where it's kind of a more intimate situation and people, those fans, NXT fans are closer to AEW fans. They kind of fall in love with personality. I don't know about the main roster. I could be completely fucking wrong. I've never seen these people
Me
in my
neither.
life.
So, I mean, I wouldn't know.
I do know that he's got on a lace.
His nipple is popped out.
What do you call a shirt that looks like? Like, what do you call a shirt that doesn't even cover your breast?
That's not even a crop top at
That's
that
what I'm
point.
saying.
That's
It's
like
like-
a shoulder shrug.
Yeah, I don't know what that is. That's very
So when you
interesting.
said pretty deadly, I was thinking that these are like pretty girls that were like real.
No, that's
aggressive or something.
That's Mandy Rose's group.
Well, I'm sure,
Toxic Attraction.
but toxic attraction. But that's what the first thing that popped in my head was pretty girls that are like really badass.
No, he's got a partner too. And I don't
Yeah.
know his partner's name. His partner's name is Kit Wilson. And I believe he wears the exact same thing.
Wonderful.
They both wear that.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with it.
No.
Just I don't know that it works on Monday Night Raw. Let's go to
right.
the next one. The next one I was told to look at is Gigi Dolan.
Okay.
I've heard this name before. I've seen this girl before.
Okay.
I've seen Gigi Dolan before.
Okay.
So Gigi Dolan is here to take over, and the NXT universe can't look away since Dolan joined forces with JC Jane and Mandy Rose. Okay, so she's part of Toxic Attraction.
I'm down for it.
They've shifted the power structure of NXT. Dolan and Jane's confidence has been apparent since day one, as the duo immediately set their sights on the NXT Women's Tag Team titles. The dangerous pair nearly ripped the titles away from Io Shirai and Zoe Stark, but fell just shy in their first championship bid. This is a long bio. Like everybody else got like 2 sentences, and she must be important. Dolan and Jane made the most of their next opportunity at Halloween Havoc as the tandem captured the gold in a brutal scare-away to hell triple threat ladder match. Jesus Christ.
right.
That had to be a hell of a match. That came off the tongue. A brutal scare-away to hell triple threat ladder match.
All right.
It's clear the story is just getting started for Toxic Attraction, so step back and stare in awe. This works. This is classic Vince McMahon. This is pretty girl appealing to younger men.
I like
And
Gigi Dolan.
I
I'm
don't
team
know.
Gigi.
I don't know if she can wrestle or not. Orange hair. She's kind of.
She's giving me Becky Lynch
So
vibes.
that's what I was just
with
about to
the mix
say.
of Liv
But like,
Morgan.
it's Becky Lynch kind of evolved out of that character, and it looks like Gigi Dolan kind of assumed. To me, and this makes sense. When you first get into wrestling, you got to kind of pop. You got to
Yeah.
pop off the screen. Something has to scream, "Look at me!" It's why that guy has on a fucking lace.
Yeah, I mean, it gets his attention, right? You're talking about him no matter what.
Exactly. Like you look and you go, that's different. This girl Gigi has bright orange hair and she's attractive. So I think she pops off the screen. Don't know if she can. Like I don't know if any of these people can wrestle or not. But from looks, she fits into the box of crowns that are the WWE roster with everybody having a different color hair.
Yeah.
She just fits like right in line with that.
Yes, sir.
Okay, next one. We have Joe Gacy. He was on every list. And I think I've seen Joe Gacy before. His bio says, "Don't be triggered. This is a safe space. Joe Gacy speaks for an enlightened generation and has brought a new approach to conflict resolution in NXT 2.0. Gacy has preached inclusivity, which has already attracted a number of opponents. The insufferable superstar has already shared a safe space in the ring with Tommaso Ciampa, Cameron Grimes, Eichmann, Jiro, and more.
I've seen him fight.
So I think I saw him on the first episode. We watched the
Yes.
first episode. Look, I think gimmicks like this work. I think anytime you play into what's going on in the rest of the world, people pay attention.
Yeah.
He's got a Kevin Owens vibe to me, right? I mean,
He's
got
like the blonde Kevin Owens. Seriously, they look like brothers.
He's got the beard, the kind of stocky build. Looks like a wrestler. He kind of plays a part. I think anytime you can take a every man's character, like, you know, pants, shirt, you pop off the screen as well. He's not just another long-haired guy in tights.
Yeah.
I mean, reading his bio, this gimmick of like, don't be triggered. And then I think he obviously gets triggered and gets mad, angry, or gets mad easily. Cool. I like it. I think it could translate. The problem is WWE doesn't translate any of these things over. You build up all these gimmicks in NXT and then they completely refresh the characters
Yeah.
when they go to WWE. I'm not going to go through all of these I had on here.
Okay.
Everybody knows who Braun Breaker is. So
Yeah.
Nikita Lyons is one that everybody's talking about.
All right.
She's
Nikki
all
Lyons.
over social media.
Okay.
Nikita Lyons is ready
I
to
know who
roar
she
in
is.
NXT 2.0. As talented on the mic as on the dance floor as she is in the ring, Lyons comes to NXT 2.0 from the world of entertainment, having grown up on the road and traveling from concert to concert with her rock star parents. Who are her parents?
I don't know.
I didn't know this.
I didn't know either.
Lyons is equipped with an arsenal of punishing strikes and lethal spinning roundhouse kicks after years of training and coaching MMA and boxing, earning a black belt in Taekwondo. After catching the attention of the NXT universe following her jaw-dropping debut victory against Kayla Inlay, the sky is the limit for the rising superstar. Definitely has the look. Definitely doesn't look like a lot of other superstars. She's not the cookie cutter female. The typical. They all have a typical build that happens, and she's definitely a different look than the other girls. I have seen like the way she pins people. She does the splits on top of them, which looks painful.
Okay.
Are you looking up who her parents are?
Yeah, I'm trying to
So
figure
who
out
are her
who
parents?
are.
This-
Her real name is Faith Jeffries.
Jeffries. I don't know who that would be. But I mean,
Wait, I'll look it up. It says father's name and mother's name not known. So I mean, maybe that's just part of her story.
maybe
that,
it is
like,
just her
she
story.
traveled the world.
Well,
with
or
her
someone will
parents.
tell us who
Yeah.
her rock star parents were. But yeah, once again, she's got a look that I think translates. I mean, don't you think? I don't know what else
Yeah,
to say.
I mean, I already have known who she was, not even watching NXT, just because I've seen her because of other things.
The last one, and I'm not going to lie, I looked this up. We're going to go straight to the last one here.
Okay.
And this is someone from NXT UK.
Okay.
And this is the Wild Boar.
Oh my God.
And the Wild Boar is an animalistic competitor who has stalked his prey across the United Kingdom, Norway, and Spain as both a singles competitor and a tag team specialist. With unnerving black eyes, the unhinged, self-proclaimed Welsh wrestler man is as vicious as they come. With a little restraint inside the squared circle as he has teeth in his head, many of his pearly whites were knocked out in a bar fight against 4 other men in which he refused to go down. Like the snorting creature he emulates, Wild Boar is not someone to turn your back on, as he possesses the ability to ram through an opponent in the corner, hurl them over his head at high velocity, or just... I would be afraid this guy was going to kill me in the ring.
Yeah. Just
This-
looking at him kind of, I mean,
This man
he made
is...
my stomach kind of turn, but because I was scared.
Why have I never heard of the
I
Wild
don't know.
Boar? Why is the Wild Boar not
This
on
would
WrestleMania
definitely
Backlash?
work.
Why is he not on Backlash? He's, to me, more interesting than about
Fuck yeah.
8 of the fucking 16 wrestlers that are on
He's
Backlash.
more interesting than Omos to me.
He's more interesting than a lot of people. That character, this guy looks like he
This is
crawled
money right here.
out of a fucking trailer. Just, oh my God. Lost his teeth in a bar fight and said, fuck it. That just elevates my character.
Damn.
He's got black eyes.
Yeah.
Why?
He legit freaked me
Like,
out. at
why have
first.
I never heard of him?
I don't know.
What is Wild Boar's record? It's got to be 75-0. Nobody's beating the Wild Boar, I gotta guess.
Yeah, I mean, wow. Yep. That's all I got to say about that.
I can't go. I can't do any more after that. I had more people to do, but that's like,
Yeah, he took the cake, bro.
you can't top the Wild Boar.
Yeah.
The Wild Boar. Why is he not in WWE 2K22? Why is the Wild Boar not there?
He should be.
Let's go to topic number 4.
All right.
Step in the ring. If you ready, let's go. Hey, casual wrestling community show. You already know. Talking
This episode's been a lot of listing, I've noticed. When I was putting it together, I didn't see that it was a lot of listing, but
Well,
it's okay. Everyone can't be the banger that last week's was.
yeah.
Last week's felt good. This one feels like I'm running on a little bit. What's our time right now?
43.
All right, we're not bad. But this is the topic where I'm gonna get a little bit more serious and I'm gonna piss off the IWC, which is what I come here to do. Obviously, that's what they think. They think I come here every week just to, excuse me, say a bunch of stupid shit that pisses them off. But every time, and this topic is going to be, I want to take the AEW roster. Because I've looked at the AEW roster, every time people start yelling at me, I go back and relook at the AEW roster, and they tell me, oh man, Kenny Omega's better than Roman Reigns. Orange Cassidy's better than The Miz. And like I laugh because I go, come on, man. Let's be real. That's a stupid thing to say. But I wanted to, from my point of view, be realistic and let everybody know where I see the AEW comparisons to WWE wrestlers and what I really believe AEW guys' potential would be if they joined a WWE roster. Because every time I start talking about AEW, the IWC come out of their fucking caves and they tell me how wrong I am. And the problem with the AEW and the IWC in general is that they see everything as if the only people who watch wrestling are the IWC. Bunch of grown-ass men. They think there is no audience that exists outside of fucking smarks, as they call it, smart fans. But if you go to WrestleMania, if you go to an actual WrestleMania and you look around, the demographics at a WWE show, they're fucking hilarious. We went to AEW and it's a bunch of neckbeard motherfuckers. It's a bunch of people crawling out of the basements, going to watch wrestling, and that's fine. It's the IWC. That's what they love. That's what they go see. When you go to a WWE event, you see grandmas, you see families, you see mothers, you see fathers, you see children, you see grandpas, you see wealthy businessmen, you see people missing quite a few fucking teeth.
Yeah.
And then you have IWC that are sprinkled in proportionately. There's no one size fits all audience for WWE. You can't create an avatar and go, that's WWE's audience, because there's tons of little kids, elementary schools that are talking about wrestling.
Yeah.
Right? There's you see grandmas and grandpas, people who grew up that are still watching wrestling. You see businessmen who watch like these people all watch wrestling. They have a more diverse audience than AEW. That is why WWE has a larger audience than AEW. It's why AEW people argue when they go key demographics. Key demographics just mean people that look like me, right? Men age fucking 25 to 45 that fucking watch hardcore wrestling. That's what AEW people call key demographics. When I talk about wrestling, though, I talk about it from a commercially viable package, because that's how my brain works. I'm not talking about which guy flips around the best.
Yeah.
And I think that's what irritates everybody on social media is I'm not looking at it as like, well, Jeff Hardy's just so technically sound. No, I'm talking about the complete package. I'm talking about the soap opera that is wrestling.
Yeah.
Because that's what it is to me. Now, last week I compared the AEW to the USFL, which I still think is a decent analogy. There was a lot of pushback. I think it's a decent analogy because Rampage didn't even break 500,000 views this week. Okay, so the numbers, like, they're not, the viewership is not where they want it to be considered a viable competitor to WWE. But after putting a lot of thought into that analogy, I thought it could be refined just a little better. Now, this is going to hit better for people born in the 80s and 90s. Some people in the 2000s will get it. Some will be lost on it. AEW is less like the USFL, and it's more like and one street ball. It's the and one street ball of professional wrestling. And the WWE is the NBA. AEW has all of these high spots and crazy shit that looks cool. They set people on fire. Their rings explode and then don't quite explode right. And it's great. They get tons of highlights and they can package all that shit together. And if you've never seen a full AEW match and you only watch highlights, you go, how is this not the biggest thing in pro wrestling? And guys, like, you know, these guys look great. Adam Cole looks great. Guys like Hot Sauce from And One, they look great until you put them on a court with Kobe Bryant and Tim Duncan. Until you put them in a ring with Roman Reigns and Drew McIntyre. They don't have that same, they don't look the same. AEW guys are great when they can flip around in front of an audience of all IWC fans who literally cheer for anything they fucking do. But when it comes time to being marketable and putting the whole package together, they typically fall a little bit short. AEW fans believe that the guys they watch on TNT and TBS every week, they believe that these guys are just overlooked by WWE. They never take into consideration that the WWE may be assessing some of these guys and going, they're not marketable on a national or international scale. They're just not, they're great. They flip around, they do cool moves, but as a package, I can't sell this guy to my audience. And maybe some of them are overlooked, I'm sure. But what I wanted to do, what I wanted to take this last segment to do, was an AEW to WWE comp, to be realistic, where I think guys would fit into WWE and what their potential ceiling would be if they actually were in WWE, and it was not based on just wrestling skills, but on a total package.
Okay.
Now, first thing we have to do is settle on what we think are the best 10 full packaged wrestlers in AEW. And it's fairly, I went through a bunch of lists. I watched a bunch of videos. I watched one of Suplex's videos where he did a whole breakdown of like who are the biggest draws in AEW. And while I agree with a lot of it, there was a few that I probably didn't line up on. But it's fairly simple to me when I look at, I came up with 11 superstars to me that are merchandise movers, full package wrestlers that potentially the WWE might have interest in. That's Moxley, the Elite, more importantly, Kenny Omega, Orange Cassidy, Britt Baker, Jade Cargill, Adam Page, Adam Cole, Darby Allin, Eddie Kingston, MJF, and Sammy Guevara.
Okay.
I excluded former WWE guys like CM Punk, Jericho, Bryan Danielson, the Hardys. They've done WWE. They proved they could do it. We don't need to comp them. I did leave in Adam Cole, I believe, and Jon Moxley, because arguments are to be made that Moxley is a whole different character than he was in WWE, and that Adam Cole never got the opportunity in WWE. So having said that, let's jump right into it. Let's waste no more time. Jon Moxley. Jon Moxley is a unique character in wrestling. There's not a lot of other people like him. And he mixes a little bit of that like hardcore GCW style with still got some of the WWE left in him. He's got an AEW swag. So when I look for a WWE comparison to Jon Moxley, I can't find it. I don't know that it exists. The best I can do is go back in time and say he's the closest thing we have to a Stone Cold Steve Austin in pro wrestling, and he doesn't fully embrace that, and AEW hasn't fully embraced that anti-hero with Jon Moxley yet, and hopefully they do. The ceiling for Jon Moxley, if he was to go back to WWE, is he's still as valuable to WWE as he is to AEW. He's a world champion. He's top of the line. He can stand in a ring with Roman Reigns. He can stand in a ring with Drew McIntyre. He can stand in a ring with Brock Lesnar. He can stand in a ring with Seth Rollins. He can stand in the ring with any one of those guys. You could put a world title on him. You can put any strap on him you want, and he elevates the title. He's a big deal. So for me, Jon Moxley, he's a special character. WWE, I think, would take him back in a fucking heartbeat. And the chance I think that we see Jon Moxley back in a WWE ring at some point in his career, I think it's 75%. I really believe it's that high. I believe that AEW's roster is going to lose steam. And I know that pisses people off. It's going to balance out. You can't have a surprise every week. And we're already seeing it, right? We had like 5 or 6 surprises in a row, and then those guys just kind of faded out and disappeared because you can't maintain it. We also are silently seeing some of the original names come off the roster because there's just no room for anybody else. How long is Moxley okay not being the main guy when he's main guy quality? And I think if he goes back to WWE, I think the Cody Rhodes situation is a lot of guys are gonna look at that and go, wait, Cody came kind of off the middle of the AEW roster, and he's the #1 face on Monday Night Raw now.
Yeah.
They're seeing opportunity exist in WWE. So I think a guy like Moxley, I think eventually the whole Shield, and I get, you go, well, these guys hated WWE. That doesn't matter. At a certain point in time, you look back and you kind of forget all the bad, and you go, well, there's opportunity. You're going to see guys jump back and forth. It's gonna happen more and more, and it's going to go both ways more and more.
Yeah.
Kenny Omega. Let's go Kenny Omega. Kenny Omega, 6 foot tall. 6 foot tall. Not a big boy, okay? My WWE comp for someone like Kenny Omega is AJ Styles. He's a beloved, he's a fan darling, fans love him. But my problem with Kenny Omega, and this is going to piss off the internet, Kenny Omega doesn't look like a wrestler. And you do have to look like a wrestler. Like, let's be real. And this is not a negative because it's a testament to what he's accomplished as a guy who looks like he'd be on an episode of Shark Tank. trying to sell you something. Like he looks like a salesman. He kind of looks like
Eastbound and Down.
Yeah, a little bit. Got kind of just like he got kind of a look to him, and so that's a testament to his ability to get over and do what he does. And it is because he's so good at what he does. What do I think a guy like Kenny Omega's ceiling is in WWE? It's a short run as world champion for fan service because the fans would want to see it. But then eventually he's putting over the next big thing. That's kind of the story of Kenny Omega if he was in the WWE. And not that I even think Kenny Omega has a problem with that. Kenny Omega has proven time after time he is more willing to put over young talent than any other guy as talented as he is. Like Roman Reigns isn't putting people over like that. Seth Rollins, Edge, none of them are putting people over like Kenny Omega is. So that's all a testament to him. But I just don't think, like, long term, he's not standing face to face with Roman for a long time. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they can't sell that story for a long time. And then look at AJ Styles. That's the prime example. A guy who there's lots of people who regard AJ Styles as the best wrestler in the business. And look where he is. He's mid card. He stays in the middle of the card. He gets every so often he bubbles up to the top, and then they kind of go, "No, AJ, you need to go back down where you belong."
Yeah.
Chance we see Kenny Omega in the WWE's 25%. I do believe that you can never say never with him. And I think it's later rather than sooner with Kenny Omega. But I do think at some point, and rightfully so, he gets a WrestleMania moment. Mm-hmm. He needs some form of that. Next, we go to Orange Cassidy. Orange Cassidy is the stand-up comedian of professional wrestling. He's a guy who operates in different kinds of bits. And his WWE comp to me is Sami Zayn or R-Truth. That's where he would fit on the WWE roster in that lane. His ceiling in the WWE, fan favorite possibly. I think his style fits the WWE audience more than it does AEW. A lot of AEW fans don't like Orange Cassidy.
I like him.
I do too. But there's a lot of IWC fans that don't like him, that just shit all over him and roll their eyes when they see him. In WWE, he'd make a perfectly good IC champion or even like a 24/7 champion. And I'm not saying that to be negative. Like the 24/7 belt has the ability. They're featuring it on Monday Night Raw, and someone like Orange Cassidy could be right there in the mix. Chance we see him in WWE, 50%. I believe that I don't believe AEW, the fans, they don't have enough fucking respect for him that his loyalty is not going to lie within AEW. And with a guy like Orange Cassidy, I feel like AEW needs to either shit or get off the pot with a guy like that. Everybody talks about predictability in the WWE, right? Oh, I know exactly what's going to happen. WWE is so predictable. But be fucking real. There's nothing else in wrestling that we can predict more than who the next 5 AEW world fucking champions are going to be. And we can do that with about 90% accuracy. CM Punk, Bryan Danielson, MJF, Adam Cole. These guys are already in line waiting for their title shots. That's predictable. We don't know who's going to beat Roman. We don't know who's going to beat Theory. We don't know who's going to beat who's on the other side. Who's IC champion right now? Why am I drawing a blank? Shinsuke had it. He lost it to Sami Zayn, who lost it to Ricochet. It's Ricochet.
Oh, well, see, that shows you how forgettable it is.
I agree. I mean, it shows you how they don't put it. And I put MJF on this list, right? Even though after last week I said I don't think he's going to win a title, I watched a video that Suplex made, and he made a compelling argument that swayed me a little bit to change my mind. He thinks that CM Punk is going to win the title at the next AEW pay-per-view and then drop it to MJF at All Out this year, which I think makes a lot of sense. It would actually work really well, and it would probably give them a much higher chance to keeping MJF when his contract runs out. But I still, like, that almost seems like too good of booking for AEW. Mm-hmm. Next, we have Britt Baker. Britt Baker's a polarizing figure. There's people who love Britt Baker, and there's people who absolutely fucking hate Britt Baker. When I do videos about Britt Baker, people, they either tell me how she's the best woman in all of professional wrestling or she's the worst. There's nobody who, like me, kind of falls that her WWE comp is Sasha Banks.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, upper echelon, not the best, but upper echelon, has a swag about her. super marketable, like merchandise. They do terrible. AEW does a terrible job with merchandise.
I wanted to get a Britt Baker shirt, but they were all so ugly that
let me ask you a question.
F that.
When is the last time, and I know the answer, that you've seen an AEW wrestling shirt in the wild? And when I say the wild, I mean not at a wrestling event. Just walking around, just going through the mall.
CM Punk doesn't count because I feel like
everybody has a CM Punk shirt.
Exactly.
I'll agree with you on that.
But not like an actual
Let's
AEW.
just talk about anybody outside of CM Punk. When's the last time you see... Nobody, right? Nobody's wearing AEW merchandise. So they're not doing the marketing game correctly. Her ceiling in WWE, world champion, easy. Yeah. Easily could see her holding the women's strap. And chance we see her in WWE, 95%. Mm-hmm. And that's because at some point in time, she has to go to the WWE in the same way that Bryan Danielson had to go to the AEW. Britt Baker has to go to WWE in the same way that Bryan Danielson had to go to the AEW. It's kind of one of those inevitable things. She will have to prove herself against the best of the best. I'm going to jump down here to Adam Cole.
Okay.
My WWE comp for Adam Cole was Chad Gable. Stick with me when I say this. Okay. But flip the skill sets. Chad Gable, extremely good wrestler, just kind of finding himself on a microphone. Adam Cole, extremely good on a microphone. I think just starting to find himself as a wrestler. And so, but that's look at the WWE. I think that was the path Adam Cole was headed on if he moved up to the main roster. They wanted him to be a manager. I think at best he ended up a tag team champion. Mm-hmm. I don't think he's not a big guy. He's not an overly physically imposing person.
Yeah.
He doesn't just wow you in the ring. He's got the crowd. The crowd's behind him 100%. But there's been other guys that have had the crowd. Santino Marella, even Kofi Kingston got a short run with a title. But even then, they get pushed back down into, we want this guy on the roster. We want the crowd to react to them, but we're not going to put them in big moments. Chance we see Adam Cole back in WWE, 33%. And that's only, I say it's a 1/3 shot because if Britt Baker goes back, it just seems like Adam Cole could possibly go back at the same time.
Yeah.
Darby Allin. Talk about Darby Allin. I think his WWE comp is someone like Ricochet. It's not Rey Mysterio. He's not a world title guy. His ceiling in WWE is the IC title. Chance we see him in WWE, 0%. I don't think he's a WWE guy. I think he's an AEW guy through and through. And I think they'll hitch their horse to Darby. I think that's the guy. I think even over MJF, that's the guy that they're going to get behind.
Yeah.
Which leads me to MJF. I saw Jay from Jay Knows Wrestling talk about MJF and everybody kind of crowning him the greatest thing in professional wrestling right now. And it reminded me of how when Patrick Mahomes went to 2 Super Bowls in a row, everybody was like, he's the greatest. He's Tom Brady. And it's like, you got to pump your brakes. Like going to 1 Super Bowl or winning 1 Super Bowl, that'll make you the greatest. He's got a lot of upside. And MJF has a long way before he becomes... everybody wants to compare him to The Miz and people like that. Mm-hmm. He's got a long way before he gets to that. I agree 100% with Jay. My WWE comp on MJF is not The Miz, though. It's Seth Rollins. It's a guy who's going to have to be underhanded and sneaky his whole career to stay relevant and who is capable of that. Mm-hmm. MJF will be able to talk his way into title pictures his entire career. I believe it. And I think he needs to bulk up a little bit. And he's in decent shape, but he's going to have to just make himself appear bigger than he is.
Yeah.
Like The Miz appears bigger than he is. The Miz is like 6'2". MJF really? Is 6 foot.
Damn.
So there's a little bit of a size difference. So ceiling in WWE, there is no ceiling for MJF. I don't think there's a ceiling for him in wrestling. It's just going to depend on like what he does moving forward. Chance we see him in WWE, 95%. Just to kind of wrap all this up, I know this was a lot of listing. I'll try to stay away from list in the future episodes, but AEW is not going to keep all of this roster forever. Like it's not realistic. And AEW is not even going to keep the 4 pillars. They call them the 4 pillars.
Okay.
That's MJF. Who is it? It's MJF, Sammy Guevara, Jungle Boy, and Darby Allin. They're not keeping them all. And I think Britt Baker should be the 5th pillar. I just, it's inevitable. 1 or 2 of those guys is going to make the jump to WWE. I said it last week. AEW is still a stepping stone. You can hate that all you want, but the AEW championship's still a stepping stone. These guys want WWE moments. And until AEW can figure out, you go, oh, it's only 3 years old, give them time. That's a weird thing to say about a company who has an unlimited budget and who, to me, their roster will never be better than it is right now at this moment. CM Punk, Bryan Danielson, Moxley, Jericho. Like, if you look at that, Jericho's got to be at the end of his career, right? CM Punk's definitely at the end of his career. He's beat up. He doesn't have too many long runs. Bryan Danielson, I don't know. He probably can go a little bit, but I don't think ever again AEW's roster will be as high as it is right now. And that's all I have to say about that. The CWC pay-per-view challenge should be up and live tomorrow. The 5 people who were tied from WrestleMania will go into Backlash with a champion's advantage of 0.5 points. We didn't get to do the Doc watch along this week. Completely fucking forgot about that. We were going to do it last night, and I completely forgot. The CWC 2K Universe will hold its opening tournament this week. Everything's locked in. I've got 8 names in the tournament. We'll determine our first world title champion. Other than that, do you have anything, Lauren?
I look forward to keeping my fucking title belt.
Nah, that ain't happening. This has been another episode of the CWC Wrestling Podcast. Make sure to tune in every week on either YouTube or Spotify, and please leave a comment on the video. It helps us get into the algorithms. We're building some steam on YouTube, building a lot of steam on Spotify, building a little bit of steam on iTunes or Apple Podcasts, whatever they call that. Also, make sure to follow us on TikTok, Instagram, or Twitter. If you don't already, just search Notorious Nerdy D. As always, I am the Notorious Nerdy D. That is Level Up Lauren, and you can ring the final bell.
Ba-ding, ding, 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 ding.
Step in the ring if you